An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, or so Gandhi would have it, but try telling that to victims of intense bullying like Moon Dong-Eun. The glory revolves around Moon Dong-Eun, her 5 high school bullies, and her revenge plans spanning 18 years. Her bullies: Park Hyun-jin, the leader of the ring; rich boy Jeon Jae-Jun; aggressive girl Lee Do-Hyun; a more passive girl, Choi Hye-Jeong; and son Myeong-O, the boy who's not afraid to get his hands dirty with violent acts, mostly come from wealthy and influential families, so the community protects their actions by turning a blind eye to their brutality. Dong-Eun had her dreams of becoming an architect shattered when she fell into the group's radar. She was easy to bully because of her poor background and her mother's inability to be there for her. She had no one in her corner, which made her easy prey for the rich kids and easy for the teachers to turn a blind eye to the harsh treatment she had to endure. Seeking help, Dong-Eun makes an official report to the police about the bullying she has been receiving in school, only for the police chief to sweep it under the rug due to his connection to Yeon-Jin's mother. The report only worsened Dong-Eun's case as Yeon-Jin employed the use of a curling iron in her abuse. She burned Dong-Eun's arms with the curling iron while the other minions held her down. The group tortures, mocks, and sexually assaults her. Dong-Eun visits the school nurse and asks for hydrogen peroxide on her wounds. The nurse is curious about why she needs hydrogen peroxide, and Dong-Eun lies that she wants to clean the blood on her shirt. The nurse checks Dong-Eun's arms and is shocked by the burn marks. She asks Dong-Eun who hurt her, but Dong-Eun refuses to answer. The nurse volunteers to help her report the case to her teacher, but Yeon-Jin, who was also at the infirmary, announces her presence and admits she is the one who has been hurting Dong-Eun. A few days later, the nurse quits. Dong-Eun had no breaks from these bullies as they would visit her at home because her mother wasn't always home. They'd torture her all night with a curling iron and hand iron until her arms and legs were covered with scars that would last a lifetime. Reaching her breaking point, Dong-Eun contemplates suicide to end her pains as the itching from the scars wouldn't stop, but she finds relief from the cold snow on the rooftop, which helped to soothe the itch temporarily. Tired of all this, she decides to drop out and lists her bullies as the reason for her transfer. This didn't go down well with the homeroom teacher as he slapped her repeatedly in the staff office for getting on his bad side until the rest of the teachers stepped in to stop him. As if that wasn't enough, her mother was bought off by Yeon-Jin's mother to cite maladjustment as Dong-Eun's reason for school withdrawal instead of bullying. This was the ultimate betrayal for Dong-Eun, who found out about the payout when her mother cleared their room in the boarding space, leaving her to fend for herself completely. With her life in ruins, Dong-Eun contemplates suicide again at the Han River, but instead of going through, something clicks in her. She visited the school one last time and promised her bullies retribution. She promised Yeon-Jin that they would meet again, and from henceforth, she would be her dream. Years later, consumed with her revenge plans, Dong-Eun works different jobs to keep herself afloat while studying to graduate high school and make it into college. She succeeds in getting into the Chuncheon University of Education and continues to plan her revenge on Yeon-Jin. To get through college, she tutors some spoiled rich brats that apparently have an innate Yeon-Jin quality. When one of her clients tried to flirt with her, she terminated their contract and demanded a payout from his mom. But as she leaves the house, she faints on the street due to malnourishment and is taken to the hospital. There, she meets Joo Yeo-Jeong, who was also brought in for treatment. Joo Yeo-Jeong works as an intern in the hospital and is concerned when the doctor returns with the result of Dong-Eun's tests after she hastily leaves the hospital. He learns Dong-Eun is anemic and that she left without a prescription. He hunts her down and finds her university. He told her about her health condition and asked her to take better care of her health. When Dong-Eun learned that Yeo-Jeong could play Go, she asked him for tutorship. Yeo-Jeong, fascinated by Dong-Eun's mysterious aura, agrees to teach her in order to get close to her. However, Dong-Eun cuts ties with him after learning the basics of the game, as her goal is to catch the attention of Yeon-Jin's husband, Joo-Young, an experienced Go player. 3 years later, Dong-Eun passed the teacher's qualification exam after her second try. Yeon-Jin is married to the wealthy business owner Ha Do-young, and the two have a little daughter, Yi-Sol. She was also a semi-famous weather reporter by this time, though her wealthy and influential husband has protected her career. Jae-Jun is the wealthy owner of his family's fashion store, and Myeong-O is still his errand boy. Sae is an artist and a drug addict, while Hye-Jeong is a flight attendant who will soon get married. Yoo-Jeong, who had fallen in love with Dong-Eun 3 years ago, was now a plastic surgeon. Dong-Eun never loses sight of her revenge plans as she keeps track of the tormentors by stalking them all over social media. In the present, Moon Dong-Eun returns to Semyeong as an adult, ready to take her bullies down. She moves into an apartment next to Yeon-Jin's house and begins looking for important documents in her garbage. On one of her secret searches, she is caught by Yeon-Jin's employee, Kang Hyeon-Nam, who asks her to kill her husband in return for her silence about the garbage. After investigating Hyeon-Nam, and finding out that her husband is physically abusing her and her daughter is contemplating killing the man to save her mother, she hires her to help her with her revenge plans. In return, Dong-Eun promises to kill her husband and tutors her daughter every weekend on a train. Hyeon-Nam learns all new skills to carry out the tasks Dong-Eun gives her, like stalking and capturing pictures. This sets Dong-Eun's plan in motion, and she starts her dirty work. With Hyeon-Nam's help, she comes across a very interesting revelation, which enables her to blackmail the chairman of Semyeong Elementary School into hiring her as a teacher for Ha Yi-Sol's grade. The goal was to get closer to Yeon-Jin's daughter and husband. Dong-Eun creates the right preconditions to become Yeon-Jin's constant fear. This kept Yeon-Jin on edge as she feared that Dong-Eun would do the same thing she did to her daughter, and no matter how much Yeon-Jin tried, she could not remove Dong-Eun from the position. Even though Dong-Eun does not practically harm the young girl, she does use her as a weapon. Busy with her revenge plots and tutoring Hyeon-Nam's daughter, Dong-Eun runs into Yoo-Jeong, who still carries a flame for her after all these years. He tells her that playing Go with her helped him during the coldest season of his life. He thanks her and gives her his contact card. Still bent on her revenge, Dong-Eun slowly manages to get many allies on her side. She manipulates Myeong-O, the group's gopher in school and even in adulthood, into helping her. Leveraging his dissatisfaction with his position in life, she reveals to him that Yoon So-hee, the previous victim of their bullying, didn't die because she committed suicide, but Yeon-Jin killed her. In return, he gives her Sa-Ra's drug account book, information on the guy Hye-Jeong is currently obsessed with, and a strand of Jae-Jun's hair for a DNA test. Seeing the prospect of making lots of one with this information, Myeong-O confirms her story, only to go missing later. With Jae-Jun's strand of hair, Dong-Eun confirms that Yeon-Jin's daughter, Yi-Sol, was Jae-Jun's daughter and not her husband, Do-Young. Using this to her advantage, she sends the result to Jae-Jun, who becomes determined to get his daughter back from Yoon Jae-In and her husband. Oblivious to the happenings around him, Yeon-Jin's husband becomes infatuated with Dong-Eun when their paths cross on a popular Go players hangout. With her revenge gaining momentum, Dong-Eun visits the church run by Sa-Ra's dad and confronts Sa-Ra. She gives Sa-Ra an empty black bag and gives her 15 days to fill the bag with dollars. She plans on using the money to send Hyeon-Nam's daughter abroad for her studies, as she doesn't want her around when she fulfills her mother's wish of killing her dad. With the same feelings, she visits Gyeode Park, where Yoo-Jeong had taught her how to play Go, and sends him a message which surprises and pleases him as he rushes to meet her. Here, she says her final goodbye to him, telling him that she doesn't need a prince but an executioner to help her with the hunt. Because of this, Yoo-Jeong quits his job and moves to Semyeong, opening a practice to be close to Dong-Eun. This made Dong-Eun open up about her childhood trauma and her plans for revenge. She goes further to reveal the scars she bears from the traumatic experience which made Yoo-Jeong promise to be her executioner. In the meantime, Joo-Young learns from his daughter Yi-Sol that her teacher went to high school with Yeon-Jin. He becomes more curious to find out more about Yi-Sol's teacher and promises her to attend the Daddies event coming up in her class. He wasn't the only one planning to attend Yi-Sol's class event, as Jae-Jun also planned to see his daughter the same day. During the Daddies event in Yi-Sol's class, Joo-Young is shocked to discover that his daughter's teacher was no other than Dong-Eun, who he was fascinated with. It doesn't help that Jae-Jun keeps trying to get under his skin with his snide comments. But Joo-Young, after receiving the pictures of him and Dong-Eun as a threat, begins to poke around himself and discovers evidence of his wife's affair with Jae-Jun, Yi-Sol's parentage, and Dong-Eun's connection as her teacher. This eventually brings him face to face with Dong-Eun, who relies heavily on him to enact the next stage of her plan. Exactly what shape that will take remains to be seen, but it'll surely involve destroying Yeon-Jin completely. Yeon-Jin finally takes Dong-Eun seriously. After discovering that she lives across from her, she breaks into her home to find Dong-Eun's wall of plans. As she laments how she had slipped up years ago by bullying Dong-Eun instead of killing her, her husband, Joo-Young, walks in. While Dong-Eun makes her first move on Yeo-Jeong's go board as the real game finally begins. If you like our content, please give it a like, subscribe, and turn on your notification to be among the first to see our content. Stick around for Yeo-Jeong's story. Thanks for watching, bye.